Hi everybody, how you doing? Good Wednesday to you, middle of the week. Weather is quiet. Besides a little rogue shower Monday, Tuesday, I actually had one at my house yesterday. Well, it was more like a sprinkle. I kind of looked up and said, what is this? And then I said, oh, I watched Eric Burke in the morning and he told me it was going to be a slight chance of a shower. And he was right on. But most of us are dry and most of us have conditions like you see in Decatur right now, where it is sunny and warm for this time of year eventually in the afternoon. Winds are nearly calm, not much of a wind, and it just really picture perfect conditions. Obviously, we could use a little bit more rainfall after a lot of rain last week. But if you're not going to have rain, might as well have days like this. For some of you, maybe a little too warm with October 1st, maybe thinking more fall-like, but temperatures stay above average, not just today, but for the foreseeable future. Brad made a great graphic last night talking about like when that usual first real sharp cold front comes through the Tennessee Valley. And it varies, but it's usually like the second and third week where you see that noticeable drop with some really cool air coming in. There are no hints in the forecast models that go out 7 to 14 days. And I know a lot of you don't think we get the next day right, but we look at trends for the forecast models and there's nothing trending cool at all. There is a little shot of some cooler air that comes in by the end of the weekend, but it's still like low 80s by day, 50s at night. There's not that real sharp drop in temperature anytime soon. Usually October tends to be a transition month for much of the U.S., where eventually by the time you get to the end of the month, you start to feel a little bit more fall-like, and that will likely be the case this year. It is almost every year. We get to Halloween and we have at least that 1 or 2 days where it's like way below average. We'll see how it plays out. But right now, warming up pretty quick. A little bit more humidity today. I'm going to show you the dew point graphic in a moment, but temperatures in the 70s and the cusp of 80s, so it's a pretty quick warm up this morning, and that's why I do think we'll get to the mid 80s, which is slightly above average this afternoon. The dew point temperatures that have been kind of hovering in the 50s for a couple days now, they're up in the 60s now, and it's not like the July grossness that you feel out there when it's 95 and really humid, the dog days of summer. But this time of year, October 1st, when your dew points go mid-60s or even some upper 60s there, that tends to feel a bit more humid, especially for this time of year. It doesn't take the actual air temperature and make it feel a lot hotter. It's just the air feels a little bit heavier if you're outside. You certainly can feel it if you're walking around this morning outside. Satellite and radar, I'll pull this up so you can see it a little bit closer. What you take from this graphic is just how quiet it really is. Big dome of high pressure in the middle part of the U.S. near Arkansas. There are some showers moving out of the front range of the Rockies into the central plains and northern plains. There's a pretty potent storm system on the northwest portion of the U.S. Towards like Washington and Oregon, California, and producing some gusty winds and heavy rain. Speaking of gusty winds and heavy rain, that little red circle there is Imelda moving away from the coast. Obviously not a direct hit to the U.S., but there was some damage. When you build a home on the outer banks of North Carolina, you are literally in the ocean, and there's like, and they're built on like these stilts, like FEMA regulated, right? And 5 houses, I think, went plunging into the water because of during the high tide yesterday. And that's just the swells from what was once Umberto, which is now post-tropical, and Imelda. All those swells coming in with high tide, and it washed away some of the houses. So sometimes it doesn't have to take a direct hit to have an impact. Now, it was very localized, and it was literally 5 houses, but those 5 houses are in the ocean now. And those people who own those houses, certainly an impact for them. But most of the impact from Imelda will be felt really in the island of Bermuda in the next 24 hours and moving out to sea after that. So a couple hurricanes now, Umberto, Imelda, Aaron, but most of the activity has stayed offshore this tropical season, except for areas along the outer banks. Like Aaron did the same thing, washed away some houses right on the coast. So your 3-day forecast after a splendid day today. A little bit cooler by the end of the week, not much, still 80s by day, but the nights will be different. They'll be in the 50s. So when you wake up Friday morning and Saturday morning, refreshing. If you have plans to go check out some high school football action across the area, it should be fantastic. Any outdoor activities, a lot of events taking place in October when we get to the weekend. I do believe Coleman Oktoberfest happens Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know the dates exactly, so if I have them wrong, don't yell at me. But always a good time. I've been to Oktoberfest. I went the first year I moved here. I went in like 23 and had a blast. It was so much fun. But a lot of different activities taking place. I'll pull up the 10 days so you can see it a little bit closer. Hi, Mike Gentle. I see you on. Good mid-morning to you, my friend. Enjoy the day, my friend. By the pool, hopefully. If not by the pool, maybe you're doing something outdoors, whatever your plans are. Besides a rogue shower today, it's mainly dry. Thursday, Friday, dry, nice, a little cooler. The humidity will creep back in by Sunday afternoon. Again, not oppressive, but October standards. And then on Monday and Tuesday, there's a slight chance of some showers early in the week, but besides that, there's not much rain. I always say this, I've been here 3 years now, and every October I feel like is just awesome. Like the weather is delightful, but obviously we could use a little bit more rain. Again, it's going to be interesting. The drought monitor will get updated tomorrow morning, and it will reflect the rainfall that we had last week. Remember, the drought monitor comes out on Thursday, but it's really the past week of rainfall. But I do think that there'll be some noticeable differences in improvement, but those improvements will be negated quickly with the following drought monitor update the following Thursday, which I do believe will be the 9th. And yeah, we'll take like 2 steps forward and then take 2 steps back. Good Paul Abdul song. And yeah, so rainfall great when you get it, like we did last week, but then all of a sudden we just hit this dry stretch now where it's going to go on and on and on, like the Titanic song. Like it's going to go all the way to the middle of the month. So probably be talking more about dry conditions when we get to the middle part of October. I think, if I remember correctly, it was on the news this morning. I should have paid more attention. I think there's a burn ban in Ardmore. So get the leaves on the ground this time of year and stuff. Things can happen fast. We've had some rain, but not enough apparently. So that also means too, like this weekend is a good example of this, like especially Friday night. A lot of times you sit out in your backyard, you got a little fire pit area, and if you're going to be having a fire pit, please use extra caution. Still pretty dry, even though we had some beneficial rain last week. And with the cooler temperatures in the forecast, the fire pit kind of sounds nice, right? Just want to be careful, that's all. That's all. Hi, Rhonda Rudd. Good morning. Thanks for stopping by for Weather Extra. TVL's on at 11. Peyton Walker doing her thing. And I do one weather hit there. And then we'll have the new newscast on. Gina is back, and she'll be taking care of the noon show. She'll have the very latest for you on any news, breaking news this morning. And we'll be on from 12 to 1 there. A couple weather hits in there as well. So getting through the middle part of the week. Downhill from here, everybody. Thursday and Friday, almost here. Then the weekend happens fast. I feel like this whole year has moved fast. I feel like October is like, bam, in your face. Sandra was talking to me on Facebook this morning. She said, Jeff, I feel like I can't believe it's October 1st already. I said, yeah, it's quick. Quick. But next thing you know, somebody also, a friend of mine from Rhode Island, her name is Maha. She was on this morning. She's really sweet. Her husband, Art, great people. And she says, Christmas is right around the corner. I said, whoa, time out. We still have to get to Halloween. We still have Thanksgiving, and then we have Christmas. But those of you big fans of the Hallmark station, cheesiest movies ever, I know, but they're feel-good movies. I think they released their Christmas lineup this year. I'm pretty sure they did. I think it comes out on October 1st, and they give you all the breakdown of when every single new episode or new movie will be on, and it goes all the way from I think it's the first weekend, I think it's the last weekend of October, and then it goes all the way to Christmas, the week before Christmas, and it's all new Christmas shows. This is a market, everybody. I'll just tell you, go make some money, learn how to make a really good Christmas movie and put it on Hallmark. You can make some cash. It's all good. But everybody, I'm going to bust a move. Get ready for the 11 o'clock TVL. We got a notification I got to push out. I'll do that. Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis will be in tonight with the very latest. Eric Burke will be back tomorrow morning, and he'll have the very latest for you, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 4:30 a.m. And for now, have a fantastic afternoon. Enjoy a little sunshine if you don't mind it too warm, a little warmer than it should be. But overall, the weather looks pretty good for the rest of the weekend into the weekend. Have a great day, everybody.